Welcome back to the channel. Here's where we are so far. Over the past couple videos, we've been looking at detecting outliers in our measurement data. In the first video, we built a control chart, which is great for single variable outliers, or we could run a for loop and look at multiple variables. And in the second video, I showed you how you can use the isolation forest to perform multivariate anomaly detection. Now, in the end of that video, I demonstrated using PCA or some other visualization technique in order to visualize these multivariate outliers from the isolation forest. Now, in this video, I want to focus on visualizing that data with the parallel coordinates plot so you don't have to build a secondary model just for visualization. So if we scroll through, you can see where we've done so far. This is the control chart from video 1, and here is the PCA scores plot from video 2. Now, these points in the darker color are the outliers from our isolation forest model. And in order to visualize the 10 variables we have here, we chose to build a PCA model. But I can already see people thinking,
Chris, I don't want to build a second model just to visualize this data. I want to build a plot where I can see the variables directly.
okay, I get it. I get it. Now, here is an alternative for you to actually visualize the outliers in this multi-dimensional data set. So to visualize these outliers directly, let's use Plotly Express. So let's import Plotly Express as PX. And so now we're going to use a parallel coordinates plot to visualize this data. But first we have to modify our data frame. The data frame has our variables, but we do need to add our new labels. The labels are the outliers in the data set, where 1 is the inlier and -1 is the outlier data. And so let's add a new column called labels. And we will set that equal to labels. Next, using PX, which is Plotly Express, let's make a parallel coordinates plot. And with this, we will pass in our data frame df. The dimensions would be df.columns from the beginning up into the last column, excluding the last column. And let's visualize this now. So the visualization looks kind of wonky. Let's adjust the dimensions. Let's set the width equal to 1300. Let's set the height equal to 800. And so now you can see our very large parallel coordinates plot. And so the way this works is that each line is a variable in our data set. So we have SiO2, aluminum, iron, magnesium, and you can see the 20 or so measurements we have. The part that's missing is the color attribute, which we will set equal to labels. And so now the 1 are these lighter colors. I apologize for the color map. Are the inliers. So these are these middle points here, and the outliers are shown in the darker color or -1. And so if we scroll this bar up, you see how the extreme values of barium is a major driver for the outliers. And we had kind of seen that in the beginning in our control chart, that barium had a couple extreme high values and several very low values towards the end. And we could see that this is also the case even when looking at a multivariate idea. And so again, this is what the isolation forest helped us define, is that if it splits on barium, it's able to pull off some of those samples rather easily. Some of the extreme calcium oxide values also appear to drive some of the outliers. If we look at calcium oxide by our process control chart, we have a number of extreme highs and lows. So this is giving us a really good sense of the data, but in a way that allows us to explore all the variables at once. And so in any case, I hope this is a helpful technique for you to be able to visualize these multivariate outputs and then attach new layers. This not only works for isolation forest, but if you were to do DB scan, k-means, mean shift, or some other clustering technique where you want to then see how those labels are impacting your data frame, this is a good way to visualize that data without having to use PCA or some other manifold technique, simply for visualization. In any case, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. Subscribe.